How's it going? My name is Roshan. I'm the organizing director with the Pure Justice Organization. Also, falsely accused, sucked into the system when I was 17 years old, behind a situation that I should have never been sucked into the system for. But yet, I signed a plea deal looking for the most lenient sentence. So instead of going to prison for 15 years, I thought that I was signing for my freedom by signing that plea deal that was a probationary plea with a 10-year registry sentence. And yet, over 20 years later, I'm still connected and stuck in a system that seems impossible to get away from. But I'm here with Chris, and he's also on the registry. And I just want to, if you don't mind me asking, how did you get on the registry?
Okay, so I was already on probation for two breaking and enterings and a theft. And I was going to this program called Sammy Court. And what happened was I was staying with somebody because I was homeless. I just lost my job and everything like that. And slept with these two girls who were underage, didn't know they were underage. And then I went and turned myself in, and the girl in court basically said that she told me her age, and that's why I got the felony.
How old were you?
21.
Wow. And how old were they?
15.
15. And you were at a friend's house because you were homeless. Did the girls live in the house that you slept with them at, or did they come over to that house?
Well, they came over to that house and they basically instigated the whole thing. So, I mean, I didn't have none of this in mind when they came over. We were going to go to the movies and hang out and stuff like that, and they kind of instigated it.
So, and I'm just curious, right? When they came, how long did they stay at that home? What time was it when they got there, and about how long did they stay? Was it overnight or?
No, it was in a matter of 3 hours, I think.
Was it late or in the daytime?
It was during the daytime, so it was around 5 or 6.
Okay. And they pursued and instigated sexual encounter with you?
Yeah.
That's crazy. So how long have you been on the registry?
For 15 years.
Do you have a exit date for the registry, or is it lifetime?
It's lifetime. Basically, the psychologist, when I went in, had to talk to the psychologist, and she decided that because I looked at pornography that I'm a predator.
You know how many men and women look at pornography?
Exactly, and that doesn't make them a predator, so it's kind of ridiculous. I got railroaded, definitely.
The porn industry, the money that it make comes from some of everybody,
Right.
How has the registry impacted you as an individual?
Well, I deal with the mental illness, so I have schizoaffective disorder, and it took me a long time to get diagnosed with that. Doctors couldn't really figure it out, so I deal with suicidal thoughts and feelings every day, and depression, and it's partly because of my mental health, but a big part of it is because of the registry, because it's hard to make friends, and it's hard to go out, find a job. It's been impossible for me to find a job, and so I pretty much stay to myself in my room all day, and it's kind of depressing and lonely.
Yeah, I get it. it was times where life really took a toll on me where I did give up. Like I didn't think I wanted to do it. I actually talk about it in my book, Stolen Identity, how, I contemplated all kind of stuff. It's like how did this happen to me?
Right.
Let me ask you something else about the two girls. Did they look of age?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You couldn't tell they were not 18. I mean, they dressed the part, they acted the part, and it was kind of weird because, I was told that the parents weren't mad. They weren't mad about the situation. But then when I went in and turned myself in, that's when the police officer told me, yeah, they're really mad, So, but they didn't look, 15 years old.
So if the parents wasn't pressing charges, why you turn yourself in? Like, who do you think it was? Do you think it was the parents or the DA?
That did what?
That wanted to pursue charges against you?
It was the DA and it was the parents after the fact. So I turned myself in because I realized I felt like I'd really harmed somebody, and I felt I was doing the right thing. I had no idea about a sex offender registry or that I was going to be on a list for the rest of my life. I thought it was just going to be another charge, and I was going to have to go to prison for, which I did. I thought it was just going to be another charge on my record, and then I get out, find employment and stuff like that. And that just wasn't the case.
How much prison time did you do?
I did 6 months in county and 6 months in prison, which blows my mind because I've been on the registry for, 15 times the amount of that,
And were you charged a felony or a misdemeanor?
It was a felony, and they gave me a misdemeanor for the girl that basically, so the two girls got on the stand, and one of them said they didn't tell me their age, but the other girl got on there and lied and said she told me her age and all that stuff. So they gave me a felony, an unlawful sexual conduct with a minor, a 4th-degree felony. And then for the girl that didn't tell me her age, they just gave me a contributing to the delinquency of a minor, which is a misdemeanor.
So for a female, okay, what state is this?
Ohio.
What is the legal age of consent in Ohio?
16.
16. Wow. That is so crazy how it varies from state to state. Like, yep. I promise you, in some places, if someone is 17 and they date a 21-year-old, then you're messing with somebody underage because they're 17, but in another state, underage is 16. But then yep. In other states, 16 is legal, but 15 is underage. And it's like, I really believe that it should be one number across the United States of America. Like, I think right. Everybody should get on the same page. Like, I was 17 when I got sucked into the system.
Yep.
Me and this young lady that I never had sex with ever in life, not once, never even kissed her, was 1 year and 4 months younger than me. Well, she's still 1 year and 4 months younger than me.
Right.
And she snuck away from her home. And I had no idea she snuck away, but yet I'm impacted. So
you shouldn't even be on the registry. That's kind of ridiculous. It's just unfortunate. I mean, it's a big money making machine. That's why they have it around. It makes so much money. They make so much money off our suffering that it's just ridiculous. And that's the reason why they keep it around. I mean, they don't really want to rehabilitate any of the sex offenders. They just want to punish them,
But my question is, sometimes, like, what is a sex offender? Like, if the states can't get on the same page as to what underage is, then, like, how do states continuously prosecute from different age ranges. Like, okay,
Right.
what is a minor? Like,
Mhm.
I really think America need to come to a conclusion as to what a minor is. Is it 15? Is it 16? Or is it 17? Nobody
Right.
can vote until you're 18. Is it
Right.
18? Like, where do we stand? It's too many gray areas that put people on the registry.
Right.
What do you think the legal age of consent should be?
Uh, I mean, tell you the truth, this is kind of where I stand. So my dad's wife, her parents. Now, when the husband was 28, he married a 14-year-old girl, but they're from a different country, So going to that country, they would laugh at my charge.
Hmm.
They would think that it's absolutely ridiculous. It's just different cultures and stuff like that. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think the legal age should be. I think it should be 16. I think that should be the legal age. You know, I mean, besides that, I mean, most of the time, girls at that age are looking for older men, anyways. So I mean, it's kind of ridiculous that they have all these different ages for these different states and stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense. Um, and I mean, you can get yourself another charge just for going to a different state and not knowing what the girl's age is.
Right. It's funny that you bring it up. I was actually just talking about this not too long ago, but when I was in high school and middle school, by the way, like the middle school and the high school females that was my age
Hmm.
wouldn't date guys that was in their age group like myself. They all
Right.
wanted older guys, so
Right.
like you got the people in middle school trying to date the high schoolers. You got the ninth graders trying to date the seniors. You got, the 10th graders trying to date the seniors and people in college and, so on and so forth. But yet, when these younger people pursue people that is kids like them, I mean,
Hmm.
I don't think you mentally mature anyway until you're around 26.
Right.
So with these younger people pursuing older people, I really think it should be against the law for any parent or DA to pursue charges on somebody that's still in the age bracket of their kid or this younger adult because this younger adult pursued somebody older. But that's
Right.
my personal take.
Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. They put all these juveniles on the sex offender registry and completely ruin their life. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the intention of that is. Why they would want to criminalize somebody like that. I mean, it just makes their life harder, man.
Especially for a lifetime.
Right? Exactly. I mean, why would you do that to somebody? I mean,
How many judges, prosecutors, lawyers, teachers, or just parents you think? And I know this is you can't really give me a number, but about how many like people do you think that we see on a regular as kids used to pursue older people?
oh, there's numerous.
So
I
these
mean,
same judges and prosecutors that prosecute people because there was a 2 and 3 age gap or whatever the case may be with touching a minor charge, they used to do the same thing when they was kids.
right? Exactly. I mean, all these prosecutors and judges, they all had the same problem growing up. They all probably did the same thing. I mean, most of the I mean, I've talked to counselors that said if this was back in the 50s and 60s, this wouldn't even be a problem. You wouldn't even be in trouble, you know. And I've talked to cops and stuff like that, and they say it's ridiculous that I'm even on the registry, because of my charge. and stuff like that. And they, they're like, if this was 10, 20 years ago, this wouldn't even be a problem, you know? And it's just ridiculous. I mean,
What
they just
what age do you think should classify people as adults?
18. I think 18.
18.
I think 18 is a good age. I mean, if you want to go higher than that, I think 21 probably, because they can drink and stuff like that. But like you said, I mean, I agree with the fact that people don't get mentally mature until they're much older. I mean, I'm a completely different person from when I was 21, and I'm 36 now. I'm a completely different person. I mean, I got different likes, and I got a girlfriend my age, and I had different priorities, than when I was 21.
Mhm.
And I think, honestly, man, I mean, the problem with the sex offender registry is there's no room for redemption. I mean, you can't redeem yourself. There's, and even if you do get lucky enough to have enough money to pay for a lawyer, because you've served your time on the sex offender registry, there's no guarantee you're going to get off. I mean, they could keep you on there another 5, 10 years,
Right.
And I mean, that's crazy. They expect us to integrate into society, but they don't give us a chance to redeem ourselves,
If you had to guess a percentage or a 1 out of 10 on how many people may make the registry that shouldn't be on the registry, what percentage do you say that will be? And I say shouldn't be on there from like anything from being a kid, messing with a kid, angry parents, a lie, like what percentage?
I think that I've only seen, out of my whole time I spent in prison and the time I spent in the halfway house, and from the sex offenders I've talked to since I've got out, I mean, honestly, there was only one person that really needed to be on that registry. And he was, the situation was he was down in the halfway house and he was collecting pictures of children, and he was actually going out trying to pursue, young kids and all
From
that
the halfway
stuff.
house?
Yeah, from the halfway house. So, I mean, that was someone that needed to be watched. But I say about 90% of the people that are on the registry don't need to be on the registry. I mean, seriously, I mean, they're one-time offenses, I mean, there's so many studies done about recidivism and, about how sex offenders only got like a 4 or 5% recidivism rate, which is like down there with murderers. And there's so many people that just commit this crime one time and their life's ruined.
So for a charge that have the lowest recidivism rate out of any other charge, do you think it deserve a lifetime punishment of any kind?
Absolutely not. I mean, that's ridiculous. I could understand going through maybe therapy, which is kind of useless. I mean, it doesn't really help you with anything, especially if it's a low recidivism rate. I mean, you're just not going to have. I mean, they're trying to make people out to be child molesters when they're not even close to that. So I went through the therapy and all that stuff, and it's absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't help anybody. But maybe going through therapy and then registering on the registry for like 5 years, the time that you're on parole or probation or PRC, I mean, there has to be some, different way of going about this,
How have this impacted your employment? Like, are you working right now?
No, I'm on SSI, and because my medicine costs so much and the government pays for it, I can't really go out and look for a job like a regular job. I can do under the table work and stuff like that. But once that generic comes out, next 7 years, then I can go probably look for employment. I mean, I've looked everywhere. I've applied at grocery stores. I've applied at fast food. I've applied at hardware stores, and none of them are hearing it because not only do they not want a sex offender working there, they don't want somebody that has a mental illness, you know?
Mm. Um, when you do apply for jobs, do you feel that you have to take anything that's available or whatever anybody give you because it's so hard to actually find a job?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what about your housing situation? Like, are there any barriers you face because of the registry?
Well, I'm on a limited income. I'm on SSI. So when I first got out of prison, I had to stay in a motel and I was only getting like $640 or something like that. And my rent was like $620.
A month?
And yeah, yeah, I was having to stay in a hotel because there was no place that was going to let me stay there. And it was infested with bed bugs. I was getting eat up all the time, and there was cockroaches and rats and stuff like that. And
So you was getting 640 a month
yep,
and the room was 620 a month.
yep.
How did you eat?
I got food stamps. They said because I had to pay such high rent that they gave me $200 in food stamps every month.
Well, if you had to travel somewhere to get from point A to point B, how would you get around if you have no bus fare?
And I wouldn't. I was just stuck. I was just stuck, man. I mean, housing, because I've had that, check coming in and stuff like that, I've always had money to get a place to stay. I'm in a pretty good situation now. I pay a reasonable amount of rent and, I'm able to take care of myself, whatever I need and pay my bills and everything like that. But it's taken me time, you know. I mean, when you get out of prison, it's hard. When you first get out of prison, it's hard to find a place because the only places that accept you are motels, you know.
Mhm. So is your name on a lease now, or do you live with someone?
I live with someone.
Do you have any children?
No.
Mm. What about your family? Brothers, sisters, mom, parents. Like, how have you being on the registry actually impacted them and their lives?
Well, I can't stay with my mom or my sister because they're teachers and all that stuff. There's a rule in Ohio that says teachers can't have sex offenders stay with them. Um, so, but it's taken them time, because I mean, like I said, I had charges before. I was stealing, I was breaking into not people's houses like sheds and stuff like that, trying to steal stuff for drugs. I'm sober now. I've been 5.5 years sober, but it's taken them time, to get used to the fact of me being on the registry. But they see that that I'm trying to do the right thing, and they're really supportive of me. I mean, they've done told me that, when my roommate dies, that they're going to try to help me with housing and stuff like that. So they're pretty supportive, you know.
So I got a question. You said
Okay.
in Ohio, teachers can't have sex offenders living with them.
Yep.
What a teacher have in their household, what does that have to do with the school?
It don't have nothing to do with the school. It's just another stupid stipulation they put on people.
To
So
create housing issues and barriers for people that sucked into the system.
right, absolutely. I was watching this this interview, and they were talking about the Miami-Dade County sex offenders, how they got a 25-foot rule. They can't be near a church. They can't be near anything, and they got to live on the streets all the time. And then the same guy that passed this ordinance also passed an ordinance to where they can't have encampments. So where are these people supposed to live?
That's what I asked. Have no idea.
Yep.
It's sad.
Mhm.
So, in your own personal opinion, do you think the sex offender registry uh, creates a safer community? And if so or not, why?
I don't think it does because it creates a false sense of security, you know, like, um, there was this study done, there's been plenty of studies done talking about how ineffective registries are, the community notification and everything like that. And people just wanting to be aware, you know, that's the reason why they have the sex offender registries. Well, what good does that do? You know, um, yeah, I think it creates a false sense of security and it just makes people more fearful, you know,
When you
basically.
when you say that they say the people just want to be aware, who is that say the people want to be aware and what people want to be aware?
They want to be aware of the sex offenders living in their community. This is just a general public. This is what some people have said. Now, I don't think that, I think the general public's kind of coming to the conclusion that, they're kind of taking a step back on the registry and all that stuff because they're seeing that it doesn't work. I mean, there's more people coming out in favor of abolishing the registry and getting rid of it. But it's just random people saying they want to be aware, man. And I mean, what's the point in that? I mean, why don't we have a registry for everybody?
Right.
People that speed too much. Why don't we just do a registry for that? And then we can know that speeders live down the street. We can be aware of them. I mean, car accidents kill, so many people per year because of speeding. You know, I mean, why don't we
Right.
have a registry for them? I mean, why don't we have a registry for everything? Why is it that we have to have a registry just for sex offenses?
Right. A registry for people with DUIs.
Right,
A registry for people with a stockpile of guns. A
right,
registry for people with uh, diseases you can't get rid of. A
right.
registry for whatever. And I am not advocating for a registry on anything else. Honestly, I don't believe in a registry of any kind. But what I'm saying is,
Right.
I don't think any registry is cool. But if you have a registry for sex offenders, like how do you
Mhm.
justify it?
Well, how do you
Like,
justify making it public? Because you make them targets,
how do
you
you
know?
justify a lifetime of punishment for anything? Well, you know what? I don't even understand how everybody is issued under this same umbrella, regardless of the charge or the case, but the
Yeah, I
law
mean,
is the law, and the only way
as
we can
soon
change it.
as soon as you're on that registry, you're labeled a pedophile and a child molester, and I mean, it's under the same umbrella. That's what they all think. As soon as they hear you're a sex offender, oh, you mess with kids, so, and for the, I mean, for the record, there's a lot of people on the registry that haven't messed with kids, that, don't have um, that type of mindset.
I was a
That,
kid.
yeah, exactly.
I was a kid being a kid, you know, living life with no worries, hanging out with somebody that snuck away that never, I repeat, never, ever, ever in life had sex, never even kissed, and yet I'm stuck on this registry.
Right. You shouldn't even be on the registry.
Like, how does
You
it
know,
work?
it doesn't work. It's totally ineffective, you know, and, I wish there was something we could do about it, you know?
I think it is. And I think what we do about it is what we're doing now, which is educate the people, you know, like just tell, because people don't understand the registry. Like they
Right.
hear all the fear mongering, they hear all of the propaganda, but people don't really understand how people actually get on the registry. People don't really understand how the registry impact people. And like people not really thinking, you know, like this person could have been a real victim of the system. Like we hear about victims of the system. We can accept that people may be victims of the system, but it's over a lot of people's head when you start talking about things that come with serious charges like sex offender. So the only way to change it is to educate people by talking to
Right.
people and telling people, like, look, these are the problems with the registry, and this is why it should be changed. And this is why I'm happy that you're here talking to me today. So I asked you, if you could change anything about the registry, what would it be and why?
I would either make it private because it's really the only people that should know about that, if they really want to know, is the employer, you know, because the employer does have a right to know, you know, I understand that. Or I would just get rid of it. I mean, honestly, I mean, it's not doing anybody any good. It's costing all this, you know, billions of dollars per year to keep people on the registry and go out and check them and stuff like that. And we're just normal people, you know. I mean, we want to move on with our lives, you know.
Right about that. Well, Chris, that is actually our time. Before we go, did you have anything else that you want to lead the people with?
No, I mean, this has been a good talk.
I thank you for coming on, and for everyone that's watching, you know, I asked you to help fund a grassroots nonprofit organization by the name of Pure Justice by ordering my autobiography at purejustice.org. All books ordered on the website will come autographed or personalized, or go to any Audible platform, type in Stolen Identity. You'll see my Audible book come up. If you have Audible, you have a credit, go ahead and click that book, use that credit, get Stolen Identity, check out my life story. And I thank you all for tuning in, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you.